welcome back to Teague's Take. Glad you're with us again for another week. I've got my special co-host Nick Granado with us while George is out coaching out in Minnesota. We are here just chatting it up about anything sports related. We'll be keeping an eye on chat as we always do. And we'll be trying to interact as much as possible. And we've got a few NFL related topics that we're going to look at today. Just a reminder, since Nick is here, he's a buddy of mine that I've known for 16 years. What he doesn't know, I didn't tell him that somebody called me today for a reference. I don't know which job it was, but somebody called and asked me to give some feedback on you. So hopefully something good is happening, I suppose. I gave you the best review I could by following their instructions. But Nick's currently coaching with us over at JP2, and he has been coaching for, I don't know if he was coaching for all 7 years while he was over there in Belgium. He'll have to remind me on that, but he was coaching with the Mons Knights, doing all the things. He was one-man staff for a while. That means he was head coach, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, equipment manager, all position coaches, film guy, filming coordinator, recruiting coordinator, all the things. So let's bring him in. Say hello.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for the intro, JT. I can't take all the credit for Moans. I mean, I was in at 110%, but couldn't have done it, like I said, last time without all the guys with me. I had some assistance along the way. Great vice president Alan, great mentor Frankie, and then all the guys, the players, great captains stepping up and helping along the way. You can't have eyes everywhere, so along with them helping, um, I appreciate all what they did too. So can't forget about those guys.
Yeah, well, it's good. Always shout out to people that's helped you out, and things of that nature. So, well, I suppose let's kind of just jump into it. Where you want to start? You want to start with the Giants and what happened at practice today there. That this was a new addition to our topic list, but
Yes.
it's very intriguing. The NFC East will never not be the most entertaining division in the NFL to watch and follow with what ensued today. I guess it was I think he's a corner, Jaron Williams. He's from University of South Florida. Apparently he hit Corey Clement a little too hard, and Evan Ingram took exception, went and pushed him, and a brawl happened. Apparently it was like an all-out brouhaha, and somehow Danny Dimes ended up at the bottom of the pile, which is the one place that your quarterback shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen, it got so bad that head coach Joe Judge decided that he was actually going to take all of his entire roster for camp, the grown men that they are, making all kinds of money, and put them on the line and had them running wind sprints and doing push-ups as a result of this brawl. And one of the guys that I saw on Twitter said that all he could see was guys lined up on the goal lines, nobody else around doing push-ups, and all you could hear was Joe Judge blowing his whistle and a whole bunch of expletives.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, we know that camp fights are a common occurrence, but I don't know that bench clearing full brawls are.
I mean, I'm just gonna go on my instinct. It had been premeditated. I think the defense. So what I heard was Logan Ryan at Evan Ingram after Evan Ingram
Yeah.
pushed
That's right. That's right.
Stood up for Corey Clement. So again, I'm not putting words in Logan's mouth, not accusing him, but like it had to have been like, man, if something goes down, I'm getting involved. That type of like hyping himself up. Whether it was Evan Ingram that was hyping himself, like there was had to have been tension, is what I'm saying.
So are you thinking that
I'm not
it wasn't Evan
just
Ingram?
think-
You think it wasn't the fact that it was Evan Ingram. You're just saying it could have been anybody, and he was just ready to go. He
Yeah.
was just kind of looking for a fight that day.
Yeah, because it's always the second guy, like I don't want to say hype man because that's not fair. Logan Ryan isn't a hype man, but it's always a hype man esque. Like, man, if so and so gets mad at somebody, I'm jumping in. You know what I mean? That type of situation. Again, not saying that's what it was, but just how the story was told, it sounded like it was intense. You, like you said, there's spats all the time, right?
Yeah,
Disagreements. Hey, man, shut up. Like, oh, I got you one on one.
yeah. A couple of guys get in fights.
Spats.
Maybe you get 2 or 3
sounded
guys.
like it was full blown. Like if my boy gets into it, I'm jumping in. Vice versa. And Joe Judge, by the way he punished them, treat them like kids. He must have had wind of it.
Yeah, for sure.
He must have thought, like, you know what? I know these guys are beefing, and he probably even said it. Y'all better chill out. I'm just saying, there's no way, Joe Judge. These are professional athletes. This is what they do. This ain't your after school, high school practice. These guys, this is their job, and you're telling them you couldn't feel the tension that was there.
Oh yeah,
Feel the tension at work in their office job.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. I'm sure there's a lot of people around the country that would punch a coworker in the face if their punishment was just running sprints and doing push-ups. So, apparently at the end of practice, Joe Judge also sent the rest of the coaches off and just kept the team there. And I don't know what message he had for the team, but it was just him. All the other coaches went away. I want to address this comment from Jive Ass Turkey. So he's asking, or she, I'm not sure, how we feel about the Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC. He says that he hopes they can somehow before 2025. So all I'll say is check our episode from last week, episode 46. We basically spent the whole hour talking about this. In short, just to recap, just to answer the question, since you're here, I'm excited for it. I said if they were going to leave, I'd rather them come to the SEC than go somewhere else. I also said that I understand how other schools feel that are left holding the bag, and I understand how this hurts some of the smaller schools from other conferences. But at the same time, part of me is kind of like, I don't care, because I wasn't watching a lot of those other schools that are complaining anyway. And we still have a lot to see what happens, right? The Big 12 apparently is just talking to the Pac-12 about a merger. Apparently Clemson and Florida State were flirting with coming to the SEC. They denied all those stuff. So we won't rehash all of that because I think we spent a good chunk of time last Tuesday talking about it. But I wanted to make sure that we cover that one and get people the answers that they need.
For sure.
So let's also talk about Aaron Rodgers here. So we went from right after he lost in the conference championship game to being probably the most frustrated he's ever been. I think that's when he reached the boiling point. He said some things that I'm sure the front office was like, oh, he didn't mean it, but he totally meant it. He sat out organized team activities. He sat out a mini camp. It looked like he was almost going to sit out of training camp for a little while. He had turned down a 5-year extension that was going to make him the highest paid player in the league. So that was his statement saying, hey, it ain't about the money. I'm not upset with the contract in the sense that I'm not getting paid enough. I'm upset that I'm still here, more or less. There was reports that he even thought about retiring, which I think was a fleeting thought. That was just like, what are all my options here? Maybe I have to retire, and he probably turned that down real quick. But then he shows up at camp, signed an extension. Well, it's an extension, but he really, I think, just lopped off a year of his contract. So he's got this year. He'll be on contract this year and next year, I believe. But it seems like they're making some concessions. They brought Randall Cobb back. Devontae Adams felt better. He had stopped negotiations, and now he's back in negotiations with the contract. So where do you think this is going to go from here? And did you see Aaron Rodgers' interview after he had signed his extension?
Yeah, I did see it. I didn't see it live. I saw it after. I made a point to check it out after work. I saw when it happened. Just real quick, I don't want to take up. We could rant on this all day too, but I personally think that he might have thought about going somewhere else, whether that's trade, whatever, holding out, whatever X scenario. I just don't think anything was competitive for him because he still does want to be competitive. He's not. I don't see him leaving Green Bay to go to a bad team. You know what I mean? It was going to go to another team, and I just don't think those. Not that there wasn't interest. I just don't think nothing worked out. Terms wise, some team it was, money, whatever you want to say. That being said, I think this is just a band-aid year. I mean, all the words that he'll be there or be in Green Bay this year. Talks about next year will be rehashed at the end of this season. So we're going to do this all again.
Yeah,
our season ends.
I definitely agree with that. I think, especially if this season goes like last season did, and he feels like they're still not doing enough. I think he's just he's put it to the side for now, and he's like, all right, we're going to focus on the season, but then after the season is over, he's probably going to pick this back up. But
yeah, well, and the Cobb trade, that was a total. He's been mad about the draft pick, how they didn't draft him, help the Jordan Love thing. It was almost kind of convenient that the Cobb thing kind of happened. They threw him a bone.
Yeah, and I like the phrase "threw him a bone" because I was like, dude, I mean, it's Randall Cobb. Like, yeah, he was a beast in a Packers uniform before, but like he's been gone for a while. The Texans didn't come on. If the Texans didn't really want to re-sign you, like there's a little bit of a problem I have with that. So I hope he can get back to form, but I think for Aaron Rodgers, because his concern was like, there's a lot of guys that aren't being treated right when they leave, and he had a list. And if you, I don't know if you just listened to it, if you watched it, but if you watched it, he had the paper on the podium with him, and he was looking down, reading out. He's like, I'm not going to forget anybody, and he was listing, Julius Peppers, Clay Matthews. Did he say Sam Shield? I can't remember. But he had a list of like 7 people. And he was like, yeah, I kind of just feel like the organization did them wrong when they left or when they were at the end of their contract, whether it be lowballing them or just not taking care of them when they left. I mean, I think he even threw Bakhtiari and Balaga in there too. So, again, when you were saying Band-Aid, I feel like that's exactly what Randall Cobb is. It's somebody that they could get kind of cheap that Aaron knows, rather than, God forbid, waste a draft pick on a receiver.
I mean, you truly never know, the world of sports, but the best thing you can do is just kind of like look at history and kind of guess. And with Tom Brady kind of achieving the success that he has at the age of 44, it makes Aaron Rodgers look young. And I'm not being young like Deshaun Watson young. It just makes him look not old. It makes him look like, oh yeah, he can still sling it. He still cares. He's not phoning it in. So I can understand Aaron Rodgers' point of view. He's like, I don't really like the offers that were quote quote fielded to me unofficially. I'll stay here. Telling Green Bay, yeah, I'll stay, but I'm also going to say what I want. You're going to do
Mm-hmm.
what I want for this 1 year. Because if I'm Green Bay, they're probably going to do what they can to at least win one more with
Yeah.
this not regime, but these core players.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I really wonder because I mean Green Bay. I mean, I guess you got to give them a little bit of props. They did call Aaron's bluff. It didn't work out, so Green Bay I think ends up getting lucky here. But they didn't come back on their hands and knees saying, "Hey, Aaron, we really need you. We're sorry." They're like, "Well, Jordan Love's here. That's what we're gonna do."
Yeah, I just think it was just beneficial for both. You're right. They had Jordan Love. If they didn't have Jordan Love, I think they might have begged on their hands and knees.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But they
And
had that in the back pocket, regardless of his inexperience. They had that, and they were willing to roll with it. And like I said, Rodgers. I mean, I'm just trying to think of guys, teams off the top of my head. Stafford went to L.A. Tom Brady's still in Tampa. Maybe the Saints, but they were already rolling with Winston and Taysom Hill. The only thing that made sense was Denver, but I don't know.
hey,
I mean, is
Peyton
that
did
another
it.
Band-Aid year two going to Denver? Because you know what Denver is going to Denver as a veteran. I mean,
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Saints,
so I don't.
did you see Sean Payton throwing some jabs at Michael Thomas?
I did not see that. Enlighten me.
So Michael Thomas is having surgery, and he's going to be out 6 to 12 weeks, I think. And you remember he missed a lot of games last year. I don't remember how many he missed, but it was a non. It was not an insignificant amount of games that he missed. And John Payton basically was like, "Yeah, he's getting surgery. We just have to roll with the guys that we have, who's in the building." But and he kind of just threw this out there. He was like, "But we all knew that he should have had the surgery a long time ago. Like he should have had it during the season last year." And he seemed a little suspicious that Michael Thomas waited until now, when camp's starting, to go in and have surgery, and that he's like, yeah, now we're just not going to have him for basically half the season. So, what's the point? What is he doing? How come he's not ready to go?
Is Michael Thomas taking the year off purposely? Drew Brees is gone. He's like, well, Brees didn't come back. I could afford
Yeah,
to take off,
what's
raise my
his
stock a little bit, maybe get traded, piss him off. We're just in an era where those type of moves are not uncommon anymore, where a year can be leveraged. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Ever since Le'Veon Bell did it, like, oh, I'll hold out, and everyone's like, he's not gonna, he'll sign, and then he held out. Like, oh wow.
Yeah, I was trying to see maybe if he was close to a contract year. But he's not. He's got 3 years left on his salary. He's not even making this much. The 2021? Oh, he's still cheap too. I don't know, man. I feel well, I mean, I guess if this is the year that you're going to sit out, like if you had to give some money back, this would be the year. Because his base salary is still only $1 million. So I guess that's fine. But he is on the PUP list. He has no timetable for return. So I guess we'll see. We'll see. I've been trying to follow the Saints and seeing what's going on with them. Somehow they ended up getting under the cap. I don't know if you saw what before the cap deadline, how much they were over before they had to start releasing
I
everybody.
remember we said this. Well, I think we said this last summer when we were just talking. I think we both said like, I don't know how the Saints are going to play next year, just financially.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I mean, it was so bad that even I think in Madden, I think I told you I was like, bro, these guys are just so in debt.
yeah.
I
It was like
I don't know
negative.
how
It
they're going
was
to
it
do
was
it.
like negative 100 million. They had to find $100 million to even play. Um. Oh, and then who's about to get the last laugh on the Eagles, bro? With Carson Wentz being having to have surgery now, and he's gonna be out for who knows how long. Maybe he's the 6 to 12
I
week.
It's got to be the Eagles. I mean, on paper right now, it's the Eagles because I mean they got the draft picks. They don't have to pay them. I think the hypothetical last laugh, and I've seen this in a meme, and it would be the hypothetical last laugh. The Colts bring in Nick Foles to be the starter,
Oh man,
and the
yeah, I've been
Colts win a
seeing that
Super
too. That
Bowl.
would be,
Wouldn't
bro. Like, hey, if you're Carson Wentz at that point, do you just like retire? It's like, look, man, I'm so sick of this man coming in here.
I just don't show my face ever again. I changed my name. You just have to. I mean, you're now in two cities. You would in that scenario, two cities, two teams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
funny
I don't know.
story. This has actually happened to somebody before. Not on that scale, where guy goes in and wins the Super Bowl, but I want to say it was Robert Guayo. He was the kicker out of Florida State that they inexplicably drafted. I
Mm-hmm.
think Tampa inexplicably drafted like in the third round or something. Um, and look, he was a great kicker. I don't think he missed. I think his whole college career, he never missed a field goal inside of the state of Florida. And he had, and if I say mental issues, that sounds bad, but kickers can be head cases sometimes. He had to get a sports psychologist, and he had the kicker's equivalent of the yips, right? So they bring in another kicker, and they cut him, and they bring in this guy. I forget what his name is, and he balls out for a while, and then he fades back into obscurity and has to go, and he gets cut as well. So I want to say it was then the Vikings that brought in Aguayo because they got rid of their guy. Aguayo goes up there, gets another case of the yips. He misses a big kick, and he loses his job again to the guy they hired.
To the same guy.
Yep, to the same dude. They brought him up there. They had a kicking competition, and he loses again. And now I don't know where Aguayo is. I guess I'll look him up too.
It's
But
like Ray Finkel, you know.
yeah, he is. Boop 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 boop. He's with the Patriots now. So look at him. He played a season with the Bucks, the Bears. He played one season with the Bucks, and then he went to the Bears. And then he was only there. He was only in the practice squad for the Bears, and in the practice squad for the Panthers, and then the practice squad for the Chargers. And now he's on the practice squad for New England. But he was very decorated as a college athlete, but can't find his footing now apparently. So hopefully he gets it right.
Yeah. I was gonna segue that. I do. It's just kind of funny how times have changed to go back to like kind of the Michael Thomas thing, theory, Aaron Rodgers, kind of to sum up this whole thing. Um, just players are now more vocal and less hesitant to go into business for themselves. NFL's always been a business, but when you hear that statement, you think, oh, the team, salary cap, if they got to move me, I understand. The quote, simple thing everybody always says. But now it's kind of like, no, damn that. I don't want to make that much money, or I want to make more money, or you know, I say franchise quarterbacks now having more say, GM say,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go down to college football. Now the name, image, and likeness thing changing. So it's almost as if like the NFL and the players are becoming a business. The NCAA is becoming more as a whole a business, as we saw the NFL. And again, the segue, now high school is what the NCAA was before in a way. Like, nah, you know what? I'm not gonna play my senior year of high school. I'm gonna
Yeah,
go play
this
college football.
this Quentin Ewers thing, um, it took me a little bit by surprise. I think there is a lot of misconception around what's happening because I just sometimes I like to go into the comment section of things that I know are controversial and just sort by all the controversial comments and just see what people are saying. So apparently, a lot of people think that when you read the headline, Quentin Ewers foregoes senior year to enroll at Ohio State, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, since when does Ohio State start letting people in without a high school diploma?" I was like, "Wait a minute, that's not what's happening here. The kid just graduated early, and instead of graduating a semester early, like most early enrollees, where they graduate in January." They play their season, and then right after their season, they graduate, and then they go off. He found a way. I don't know whether it be summer school. I don't know. All I know is he got his degree or his diploma, not a degree. He got his diploma. Otherwise, he couldn't actually enroll at Ohio State. Like that's a premise that I think is a pretty safe assumption. Now, whether or not you agree with him skipping his senior football season to go to Ohio State is a little bit of a different conversation, but I just wanted to throw that out for anybody who is listening that thinks that the kid just decided I'm dropping out of high school to go to college. That's still not how that works. You still have to go through the NCAA clearinghouse. You still have to have a certain ACT and SAT score, all sorts of those things. So he reclassified. And I know people know that term. There are people that reclassify all the time. They reclassify a year early. You don't hear about it too much, but it happens all the time. They will reclassify to the year behind them, which essentially just means graduate early. Or some people even reclassify to the year after. They will hold themselves back. And I'm sure you even know people who did it. That's a big thing here in Texas. They sometimes they make you repeat 7th or 8th grade just so you can get a little bit bigger before you get into high school, and you reclassify that way and go into your senior year basically 19 years old and just bigger than everybody. So it can happen. So that aside, what do we think? Good move, not a good move? Is anybody at fault here? Do we start seeing this more often?
I mean, on his part, good move. I mean, you're right. I didn't think about the people that didn't, that might have assumed, whoa, he's just not going to graduate. I already knew because, I mean, even just for me, when I switched from Saginaw to Richland, the amount of credits I had at Saginaw, this is all in the same state, mind you.
Well, I mean,
I
kind of
only
right
had
up
to
the
take three
street, right?
classes at Richland. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I only had to take 3 classes in Richland. That's only because I had to. They couldn't let this kid come in for 1 class and go home. They had to give me 2 extra needs classes. So, I mean, you don't know where Quinn Ewers was educational wise. We don't know where he went to middle school. I mean, I'm sure he might have stayed in the area, but we don't know what he did
Mm-hmm.
academically. Where he could have been like, you know what, I'm I'm only going to be here half a day anyway. Let me just run through the summer school real quick and just finish. So again, by all means, kudos to even taking that extra leap. Let's not condemn a kid for taking the extra leap to finish early if he academically could. You know what I mean? That alone deserves praise. Two, I do think we see this more often. I do because, like I said, now this type of NCAA talk we've done kind of switches down to senior year of high school now. When I got a half day, my team isn't really that good as we were last year. Do I want to risk myself getting hurt? You know, how many 30 for 30 documentaries have we heard about that? And I had all the letters, I had all the rides. Got hurt my senior year. You don't think that plays into all of us growing up? We've seen the movies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm viewers. I'm keeping it South Lake. We just went to state and lost. Nothing against it, but it's kind of like, you know what? We had our run. I didn't get it done. I have enough credits. Ohio State just lost Justin Fields. Let me go up there and compete. If I sit a year, I sit a year. And again, I'm just thinking out loud as I'm him. I think it's a smart move, and I think we'll see it more often. This is going to be the new thing. This is going to be
I
the
think
sports we live in, sir.
I think we're going to see it a lot more in Texas than other states, because the UIL won't let you profit off of your name, image, and likeness, which already sits with me wrong anyway. Just, I understand people are like, oh, now we got to pay high school athletes. It's like, no, but I do feel like if I'm going somewhere and you're selling programs with my face on it, like you can't keep all that cash, really. Like I'm on the cover. Like people, I mean, it's just like Kyler Murray, right? Allen sold out all of their games, right? So much so they used to have to bring in extra bleachers, and then they had to build this $60 million stadium that seats like 20,000 people because everybody and their mama was trying to go see Allen. And for a good run of 4 years, everybody was trying to go see Kyler Murray. They weren't going to see Allen. I remember I went to a DeSoto. It was DeSoto versus Allen. They were playing down in Mesquite in the playoffs. I went to go watch that game, not because I wanted to see Allen, but because I was like, yo, this kid Kyler Murray had lost a game. He's going for like his third title. Like, I'm trying to go see what this kid's all about. And it cost me an arm and a leg to get in there. But, I was going to see him. So as much as Texas prides itself on its high school football, I think it is very reasonable that the high-profile athletes such as a Quentin Ewers, because he might be the number one quarterback in the class in the country, that was once committed to Texas, and as Texas seems to do, finds a way to not hold on to him, and he decides to flip to Ohio State. And then I think all it took was for Coach Nick Saban to come to some club down here in I want to say he was in Austin when he was making the comments about Bryce Young basically making 7 figures already, and he ain't even started a game yet. And Quentin Ewers was like, oh, really? 7 figures? And all I got to do is go to summer school and might just need to show up on campus at Ohio State as the best quarterback in the class? Oh, yeah, sign me up. And,
Yeah, and then now the notoriety behind it, the first kid to do it, everyone knows who he is. It's all over. It's all over YouTube.
Well, he's actually the second kid to do it.
It's everywhere.
There was another guy. He was a running back. Now, he didn't do it for NIL reasons. He actually went to Texas, but he didn't do it, because the NIL wasn't a thing yet. He was just like, look, I'm a running back. I'm the best running back. I already know I'm going to Texas. I've already committed and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not gonna play. I'm just gonna work out and get ready and he went through his whole senior year. He just literally quit the football team, and now he's at Texas. So I think
Not as exciting headline wise. I mean,
no,
I respect them, but
no, it's not. I mean, it was a headline at the time, but that's before NIL hit. So now that's the big focus, right? Is on the money and what your earning potential is, and that's
it's just the way we're leaning towards, man. I mean, what the SEC is about to be with Texas and OU to college football, Texas high school football is now that to high school football around the country.
yeah.
Other states, namely California and Florida, will probably follow suit in this type of mentality.
Well,
You
Florida,
know,
I think both of them. I think both of those states have already passed laws that said that you cannot bar anybody from profiting off of their own name, image, and likeness. So, it would not surprise me if Florida and California don't have this problem, because it's like everything you can do in college as far as earning potential, you can do in high school, except maybe your boosters in high school ain't shelling out as much money as they would be at Florida or USC or something. But well, I guess
it's interesting.
we'll see where that goes. Texas is gonna have to. I don't know how Texas gets better at recruiting. I guess, with all this, even just to bring it back full circle about them going to the SEC. Because, I mean, I really think the SEC is basically just trying to overthrow the NCAA at this point. I think the SEC's kind of had enough.
Yeah.
But, with Texas going into the SEC, like you couldn't lock down your state before. Like, you couldn't keep the top kids in your state before. How the hell are you supposed to do that now? When you got now, Florida and A&M and Auburn and Georgia, like, they're all coming to Texas to play now. They're going to be on TV in Texas. What do you do? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I remember, like, the whole A&M thing. We've talked about it. A&M, when they went and Texas stayed, A&M kind of wanted that jump, like, okay, we're never going to be the number one team in Texas, not record-wise, but just popularity-wise. We got to go to the SEC to be kind of bigger named. That makes sense to A&M, and I think that worked recruiting-wise with A&M.
Yep.
Texas going, since they've been kind of mediocre now for a while, it kind of falls flat than when A&M did it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, you're right. My thing now comes to my brain is, oh, okay, so now you're going to recruit. Like, yeah, you're in the SEC, but do I really want to go there? I might as well just go to A&M if I'm going to go to a Texas team. They're established in the SEC. They had Jimbo Fisher's been there. I know the Kevin Sumlin thing didn't work out, but Jimbo Fisher's has continuity there. You know what I mean? Like, and Tech UT's on, like, what, their fourth attempt at a rebuild? Third?
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of thing. Charlie Strong, Tom Herman, and now Sarkisian. So their third attempt at a rebuild. If I'm 18 and I'm like, you know what I mean? It just falls flat. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think the Oklahoma. I don't think nothing changes.
Oh yeah, no.
I think
Oklahoma's still
going
going to be
like
Oklahoma.
when A&M, they're just going to get bigger than. It's all plus for them.
Yeah,
I think.
I think so too. I think their fan bases are going to hate it for a little bit. I don't think they're gonna like having that SEC patch on their jerseys. But at least with Oklahoma, like, I don't feel like Oklahoma sold out. I feel like Texas sold out. It's like, wait, you built this and you built a terrible tower, so you're not going down with the ship, So,
yeah.
Well, anyways, let's talk some Cowboys. We got Xavier and Howard. Well, I shouldn't say we got Xavier and Howard, but Xavier and Howard is upset with the Dolphins. He's looking to get paid a little bit. Maybe maybe the Cowboys, start trying to whisper in his ear a little bit. Who we picked up a safety. Who was it? Who was it? He had an Achilles tear.
Malik Hooker.
Malik Hooker, also out of Ohio State, who I did like. I don't know how his college or how his NFL career has been so far, in the sense of like what tier is he in? Is he still potential All-Pro? Is he just a damn good safety? Is he just a decent starter, or is he?
It's almost like they're grasping at multiple things. You know what I mean? I put Malik Hooker in there with Keanu Neal, DeMonte KZ. Not that those guys are bad, but it's kind of like there's potential there. They're athletic. They're tough. They're not amazing. You don't think Earl Thomas with all those guys, but it's almost like, hey, we got three guys with
that were better than we had.
With Keanu Neal, yes, better than we had. Keanu Neal saying, I'm going to be a linebacker. Okay, we're going to play nickel. He can be down in the box. He can call himself whatever he wants. There is room for him on the field if Keanu Neal's in the box for Malik Hooker and DeMonte KZ. So schematically, it makes sense. Do they just go all out and do the 4-2-5 thing? Schematically, that makes sense too. There's just a lot of things that make sense with them three. I don't mind it. I think it might work. It's better than last year, right?
Well, I mean, it didn't have
get it right.
It didn't have a choice, right? They had no choice. They could not have been worse. I don't. If the defense finds a way to be worse than they were last year, like at that point, even McCarthy got to go. Like everybody got to go. But
yeah,
I'm more optimistic. I've seen some practice highlights. I saw DeMonte KZ get him in a little interception that he ended up running back. I saw a crazy interception from Trayvon Diggs in the end zone. It was pretty sweet. So hopefully.
I hear there's a corner battle
between who?
They're all competing, and maybe
Calvin
that helps
Joseph
with safeties, with better safeties. So now the corners can work a little bit more, and Trayvon Diggs isn't, as we saw in the All 22 film last year. A lot of times, Diggs was trying to
do everybody's job,
do more than he needed to, but it looked like he was just trying to Karen too much. Why he was lost rather than him being lost. So maybe that's why there's a corner battle. Corners are able to be like, hey, okay, I can do corner job instead of not worrying if over the top has helped. But I don't know. I hear there's a corner battle. They're all competing. I think I saw a highlight video of Maurice Kennedy looking like a shutdown corner. I was like, well, who's this? Like,
yo, I know the name, but where is he out of school at?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
Well, that's what Google's for. He is Virginia. University of Virginia. And he's been around the block. He's been here for a little bit. I was thinking he was new to the league, but he's not. Well, that's good.
Oh no, he was one of those veterans they brought in last year.
Well, that's good. He's yeah, I do remember him playing for the Jets. Yeah, but did he play for us last year? Was he on the roster?
Yeah, he did. It was one of the cheap signings the defense tried to do. They hyped him up like the way they hyped up Malik Hooker, DeMonte KZ, and Keanu Neal.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess we'll see. I just hope we are more physical, just in general. I'd like to see some turnovers. A lot of turnovers, actually. I think the turnover differential is something that should be very important to the Cowboys. We had a lot of uncharacteristic turnovers from who is supposedly our best running back. I don't know what the deal with that was. So
Oh yeah.
hopefully we can figure that out. I don't know. Maybe he needs to be walking around with a weighted ball all
We
the
shouldn't have
time.
had that popcorn before the game.
And he thought it was the sleeves, and he took the sleeves off, and he was still fumbling. I was like, dude, like what happened? Just kind of forgot how to
My
hold on to stuff.
expectations are a little lower than yours. I would love to hear all those things that you mentioned, or see all those things. The thing I just want to see is just don't look like a bag of ass. I mean, just don't look lost. Safeties not seeing crossing routes behind them, linebackers not knowing which way to go with a motion. Are they going? Are they staying? I mean, just don't look like a bunch of idiots out there. That's my thing. Look like you know what film was about the day before.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't sleeping. That's
Yeah,
that's my thing. And again, I said it last year. I know we were harping on Jalen Smith, but I'm still convinced that bad teaching. I just don't think you wake up one year and you're bad. Let's give Dan Quinn a shot. Maybe he's a better teacher, and hopefully back both of them, Vander Esch and I hear Vander Esch is doing better at camp. Is he doing better, or is he doing what he should have did? Is the question.
yeah. I don't know. Well, I would like to hear. I'd like to hear Trent Richardson and Eddie Lacy's take on waking up one year and being bad, because that definitely happened to Trent Richardson. I don't know what the hell happened to him. That is.
I mean, but that's not fair. I mean, that's more bust. I don't think he woke up one year. I think that just falls into the tier of draft bust, doesn't it?
I
I mean, he just didn't even have a good rookie year.
Yeah,
just
but he
bust.
didn't have a good rookie year, like literally missing holes. Like, how do you play running back your entire career and not hit open holes? Like that's all he did at Alabama. It was like the holes were so goddamn big that all he had to do was run through it. And there's plenty of times you can see when he was playing for the Colts, and like it parted like the Red Sea, and he trying to go over this way. I mean, he's still in the AAF. He didn't look very good.
It makes you wonder how good he was. How good was he actually at football? Because you've seen it. There's coaches out there. They just let the God-given talent do it, and they don't actually coach those God-given abilities. You know what happens? Oh yeah, we'll just run toss every play. He's fast. We'll just throw it up to a receiver every play. He's good. There's no actual like player
Yeah,
development. You know what I mean? And at Alabama, not that there ain't no development there. I'm not saying, but I mean, how hard was it to run? You had the defense good. They were doing their thing. The challenge was then to go to the Browns and be like, oh, I'm actually gonna have to carry this offense literally. How do I run zone plays now? And it's like, whoa, you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, like what question was asked in his mind? Like,
yeah. Well, and I guess maybe there is I mean, there is a big gap between the pros and the NFL, but I just the thought experiment that I have sometimes is like, how can you be regarded as one of the top players at the college level and then bust out at the NFL level, and then there's some players at the college level that you're like, he's never gonna make it, and then they do. I don't know how that ends up balancing himself. And I'm even thinking like D Milliner. I was like, yo, like he was good enough at Alabama to where like his senior year or his junior year, they just stopped throwing the ball over there. Like, oh, D's over, forget it. Like he never had safety help. That's why Mark Barron was just killing folks all the time, because he was like, oh yeah, they're not even throwing over there to D. And then he gets up to the Jets and he's cheeks. Like,
mm-hmm.
what happened? I don't know. Yeah, and then we got some wide receivers like Cam Sims, who like couldn't get on the field at Alabama for the most part. Now he's balling it with football team. Like, I don't know how that happens.
just sheer will. I mean, without us knowing. I mean, yeah. I mean, you got to want it. We were not in their minds. The the phrase "we'll always know till we're long gone" is Tom Brady as an example, man. I mean, dude wasn't supposed to happen, and look
Mm-hmm.
where we're at. He defied the age limit. Most QBs get old and like, well, he ain't got it no more. He defied that. So
Yeah.
can't like they say in all the draft videos, you can't scout that. You know what I mean? Can't scout character. You can at your best, but you can't scout that. The will,
Oh
the
yeah. Well,
determination, the study habits.
apparently the Vikings didn't scout character very well either. Now, did they?
Why you got to do that to me?
Well, I mean,
You're holding that in until the end, weren't you?
yeah, we only got a few minutes left, so I had, we had to throw in the Jeff Gladney, tie it all together. He's our Texas boy, went to TCU, drafted 31st overall to the Vikings, and cut immediately today, after a grand jury in Dallas decided to indict him for felony domestic violence. He turned himself in on the 31st or the 30th or something. The incident apparently happened on April 6th here in Dallas. And the Vikings kind of took a zero tolerance to that. And they were like, yep, we've seen enough. You're done here. And I respect that. I guess, you can, you can always say, well, let's wait till all the facts come out. But from what I read, the Vikings talked to who they needed to talk to. They did their own little research and investigation, and whatever information the Vikings had, they felt that it was better for the organization to cut ties with him, even though they just drafted him in the first round. So now they don't have their first round draft pick.
Yeah.
So I hope it all works out. I hope it's not as bad as speculation would have you believe, when you get released like that. And hopefully there ain't no video like Kareem Hunt when he lied to the Chiefs and the Chiefs were just like, nah, get out. But I'm sure he'll.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jeff Gladney's done. I mean, yeah, I was just gonna say Kareem Hunt got a job, so something will happen down the line. Gladney will serve his punishment, and an owner like Jerry Jones will probably come calling.
Yeah,
But the Vikings, I think, will be all right. They Zim, defensive guy. They've had injuries and they've had no names off the street, and they play good defense. So the real crime and the shame, the sadness of the Vikings is, yeah, they lost their first round draft pick. They invested in corner. Let's beef up corner, and now they lost that. So that does suck for them. But I think they'll be just fine. Football wise, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll. I mean, they got somebody, right? I mean, you can't necessarily expect your rookie corner, regardless if he's a first round or not, to be Darrelle Revis on day one. Mm-hmm. So they had to have had somebody there that was going to be the veteran and kind of try to work him in and let him take his lumps. Like, I guess, like a Diggs, even though Diggs really didn't have any kind of help. He was kind of just throwing out there and was.
It kind of makes you wonder. You said the incident was April 6th?
Yeah, I think that's what it said in the article.
When did Patrick Peterson get signed?
Let's see, Patrick Peterson. I forgot he was
in. It almost kind of makes you think that Plan B. It almost makes you think that Plan B came into effect very quickly. And knowing Zim, I don't put it past him. A very militaristic mind frame.
Let's see. This article was written on March 18th, NFL world reacts to Patrick Peterson's surprising decision. So he had agreed in
before.
Yeah, March 18th was when Pro Football Talk confirmed that Patrick Peterson was signing with the Vikings.
And that's fine. I mean, I see that too. Like you said, how do you know Gladney was going to pan out? You don't think, if we're thinking that, you don't think they thought that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's like I said, they'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot that
got some guys
Patrick Peterson was even up there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dang. Fitz is still in Arizona, right? It's gonna be a sad day when Larry Fitzgerald retires.
Bro, he is Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be sad. Yeah, get that man a ring. I still watch in sadness the Cardinals Steelers Super Bowl. I'm like, man, they had that one. That was theirs. Kurt Warner. They're gonna ride off into the sunset, literally. in the Arizona sunset, didn't happen. That sucks.
Oh yeah, because that was in their own stadium, wasn't it?
It might have been Jacksonville.
Oh no, it was in Tampa. It was in Tampa.
I don't know. It was in Tampa. I felt like it was in Florida. That was that year, man. That was.
Yeah, man.
And I know Steelers fans were happy, but no one likes the Steelers. I don't hate the Steelers, but Big Ben, he's just a classic bad guy. He's a Marvel villain. Nobody wanted him to win that.
Yeah, I know. Clancy's still a little upset about that because Clancy was the defensive coordinator that year. So, yeah. And Anquan Bolden doesn't get enough credit.
No, it doesn't.
Dude, Freddie Kitchens was on that staff too? How did that happen?
I'm surprised you're not like an avid follower of Freddie Kitchens, considering that was like the best Alabama years, and I'm just surprised you just don't follow.
I mean,
Kitch.
Hold on.
I'm joking, by the way.
I was about to say no.
Sarcasm.
I was trying.
Alabama years.
I was trying to say, wait a minute. I don't remember. I was like, I think Freddie Kitchens was there when they were booty cheeks. That's what I was trying to look, and I was like, wait a minute. Are we sure? I think he was part of the Dark Ages. He's part of the Dark Ages with Alabama. He's part of the Dark Ages with the Browns.
Poor guy.
Well, it's coming up here on 9:00, so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. For those of you that are listening to the recorded podcast, you will know, you will have already known, because you'd be 58 minutes in at this point, that I did start the recording on time this time. I hit the button. I see it's red. Now, short of the machine that I'm using to do it breaking, we're good to go. I know there's been probably a little bit of stuttering. I see some red lights that keep flipping back and forth to green on my computer screen. But, as always, give us feedback. I know we're still having trouble on the site, but if you got something that you need to get off your chest, something that you want to, whether it be questions, feedback on the show, feedback on podcast quality, any of that kind of stuff, hit us up on Twitter at Teague Podcast. You can find Nick on Twitter at Nick Granado 1991, I think. Did I get that right?
I believe so. I'm not on Twitter as much as you are. I need to.
Well,
my pat to the audience. I will be.
Well, I'm not on Twitter as much as you think I am. But you can find me at BamaJ13 on just about anything. I issue. You know what? I'm gonna call you out, Nick, and anybody listening that's made it this far into the show. Find me on chess.com or on Lead Chess, BamaJ13. Like I said, on everything. Challenge me to some chess games. Nick's been ducking me for the better part of some months now. That's okay.
You know your worth. I think people know that phrase. You know your worth, and we just stay in the dark sometimes. We don't want to get schooled in public. I don't know when you're going to be. I don't need you twitching our mobile chess game. So I'd rather just not be on a live feed.
Oh, that's fair. I hadn't started streaming chess yet, but maybe, one day I will when I stop getting scared to play randos online. But thanks for making it this far into the stream or the podcast. Give us a like, subscribe. Don't forget that our site is managed with profoundsites.com and Brent Thomas. Shout out to him. Thanks for everything that he does. And we'll catch you in the next one. See you guys.
See it.